and healing, embracing the feeling for real. This time, if you know, then you know, the Fountain of Hope podcast.
Welcome. Today we have MerySerket, right? Did I say that? MerySerket. She is with Windows of Wellness, and she is a certified holistic health and wellness consultant, certified Reiki, master teacher and healer, licensed massage therapist, prenatal birth worker, intuitive energy healer, NLP certified, touch therapy certified, dentist assistant. You have a lot of things going on. When I was reading your bio, I was like, what? I know. So, but welcome to Fountain of Hope podcast today. It is a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. Okay, so I am a holistic health consultant.
Yes.
I do all things spirit, mind, body. So therefore, we are tapping into different aspects of ourselves. The world that we live in separates these aspects. Like you have the mental health, you have the physical health, you have the spirituality, and so forth. But these things make up us as a whole. So everything that I do, I touch on different aspects of healing, because there's not just one way to heal a person. So in just of everything that you said, I do massage, I do body work, I do spiritual work, I do intuitive work, I do all different types of healing. In addition to, I've been in the medical field. I actually started in the medical field.
So is that how you came over to this notion of holistic? Tell us about that.
No, I knew nothing about holistic growing up.
Okay.
Even my mother had holistic books, natural healing books. They weren't called holistic back then. So she had natural healing books, but I grew up in the medical field. My grandmother was a nurse. Other family members worked in the hospital and so forth. And I just pretty much got to a point where I didn't have money for medical services. So the natural healing book was like, hey, take these herbs. You go to the pharmacy, which wasn't a pharmacy back then, just, the corner store, buy echinacea, buy oregano and thyme and so forth. And you take these things and then you felt better. So that was just those little seeds that were planted. But when it came to getting into employment, what was it called back then? Summer Youth Program.
Okay.
And they put us in a nursing home. So that was my first introduction into what, the world has as far as healing.
Okay.
And then from there, it went from the nursing home. I became a nursing aide years later, and then I was in the nursing field. So as a nurse's aide, but I didn't like it. So, and I was the child or the teen and young adult that was just like, they don't know what they're talking about. You don't want to hear you have a pulled muscle when your back is like inflamed, and you're like, no, the spine is broke. So I was always combating, the things that I knew and the things that I learned with the things that I was experiencing.
Okay.
And it just happened that after a while dealing with migraines, dealing with female issues, it was just tiring, taking medications and nothing's happening. The pain gets worse. So I fell into it, honestly, just out of divine intervention. Came across a person in Harlem that was selling books, and he introduced me to the Queen of Fua book. And, I'm like, I'm just here to support the brother, brought the book. And then years later, I read it, and it was just like, wow, what is this? And remember, I said years later.
I was about to say, you said years later. You didn't say, I took the book and I just read it. And
no.
So it was even years later after you received the book.
By this time, I was in dentistry. And everything was all about dental. And my world, it was like, this is it. This is my job. This is my passion. I love doing it. And I just figured I'd retire into dentistry.
Okay.
But the passion wasn't there. I loved what I did, but I just didn't see a future in it.
Okay.
So I started looking into different aspects of what I can do, and then started getting worse, womb issues, migraines getting worse, physical body just not feeling right. I pulled open the book, and then I pulled open my mother's books and started really going into it. And then computers came out. I got my first computer, had to learn how to Google things, And then sure enough, things just started happening after that. So
wow.
Yeah.
And so you continue to learn.
Yeah.
You continue to be a student and a teacher.
Yes.
I say that because you're a master Reiki teacher, and you taught me.
Yes.
And so tell us, how did you get into Reiki?
Another aspect of trying to support people.
Right. There we go. We're supporting people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was still in dentistry. And I met a group of people that were looking to become sovereign and do things differently here in America. And, it was great for the moment. But one of the sisters there, she was a Reiki master. And she was like, hey, I'm giving a class for Reiki. It would go into alignment with the stuff that we're learning. You should try it. So I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
By this time, I was already into crystals. I started crystals when I was a teenager. So that was my only aspect of spirituality.
Okay.
Which I didn't even know that term back then. It was just, I'm into crystals, So when I met her and understanding that there was more to this thing called crystals and this thing called energy healing, then I was just like, okay, yeah, I'll support your thing. It was like $40. I'm like, okay, yeah. And I took her Reiki initiation of 1, and then a month later I did 2. And it was very... I can't call it overwhelming, but it was just a big question mark as to what it was.
Yeah.
She explained it in a pamphlet, a little pamphlet with a few pages, and something in it was like, there's more to this. Yeah. Just hold on to this. There's more to this. And me being a forever student, always seeking for knowledge, having a new computer, Google, Google, YouTube, and slowly but surely, I guess algorithms were out back then, but it wasn't known. Yeah. But slowly but surely, things started coming up. And then I was always looking for people that did Reiki or had courses. So I took other people's classes. I took little lectures, and then life or spirit decided to come in and say, okay, let's put you to work and see. So Reiki came about as just supporting someone, but me feeling like, okay, this is something here that I'm really seeing how using it on myself, seeing something happening. Yeah.
So what would you say for those in my audience, they don't know what Reiki is? What would you say Reiki is?
Okay, so, in short, we're all energy.
Yeah.
Okay, everything is energy. The couch is a form of matter. We're a form of matter. You have the air, you have the light frequencies. Everything is a form of energy.
Right.
And energy can be bent, it can be stopped, it can be held onto, it can move and shift into different forms. So with Reiki healing or other aspects of energy healing, you are balancing this energy frequency. So if something is too hard, you're softening it up. If something is too soft, you're hardening it up to find that balance.
Yeah.
So you're taking two principles of masculine and feminine energies, a negative ion, a positive ion, and bringing them together so they can interact with each other in harmony.
Right.
So Reiki would be that aspect of harmony, peace, happiness, love, and so forth.
Right.
So when we are in real time, if you're dealing with a job that you don't like, and that would be considered a blockage. So Reiki comes in and just opens up different perceptions, opens up different energy frequencies to shift how you feel in your job. So people that may bully you or bother you, if you have a boss that's over demanding, somehow just leaves you alone.
Yeah.
So Reiki comes in to assist you in your life for your betterment.
Right.
So it's just bringing these energies together.
Now, when you talk about Reiki, some people will get it confused sometimes with the chakras, even though you can do the chakras and see where your chakras are and line that up. They think that's Reiki as well. Is it the same thing?
Yes and no.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the chakras are a aspect of our physical body. So the chakras line up with the endocrine system. So the endocrine system has points where they cross. And that crossing part is an electrical spark that is scientifically proven. I don't remember the name of the scan, but scientifically was proven that this point is a chakra point. It's a wheel that turns independently on its own. And we have them in our bodies in addition to other points in our bodies. And these chakra points resonate and correspond with different aspects of us, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So Reiki comes in to assist balancing the chakras when they are out of balance, or heightening the energy when it's deficient, or weakening the energy when it's excessive. So they both work interchangeably, on a spiritual realm and on the physical.
Now, how does Reiki, some NLP, some of the other work that you do, how does that fit in with mental health from an emotional standpoint?
When we start learning about mental health and emotional health, that's when you understand that everything comes above that. Our physical situations happen as the effect of this unknown thing. And the unknown thing is that emotional feeling, that we have inside of us because of our actions, our thoughts, and our deeds. So when we're coming in to bring balance to a person, if you're dealing with a lot of overwhelming stress, because we are all overwhelmed, we're all doing too much, and we can't see clearly, think clearly, mentally, what is the contributing factor? What is the origin? The origin, we found, is the emotions. And the emotions are this little thing that just vibrates inside of us. And that vibration can be stagnant because we are not living true to our inner selves. Or it becomes excessive when we're like forcing ourselves into emotional fulfillment in a sense. So Reiki comes in, NLP comes in to give a person understanding, a true inner standing of themselves and what they're dealing with. Because we have to understand we weren't trained how to, not trained, but taught how to manage life. And now life is stressful. So now we end up turning into, I don't know how to deal with this. I'm just going to sit here and do nothing. And that nothing becomes a blockage. So the coaching comes in to tap in to figure out what that blockage is. The energy healing comes in to vibrate and get rid of that invisible black cloud or umbrella that's over us. That says, hey, this is the kind of energy that you resonate with. And then the physical comes in with moving and manipulating that out of the body. So they all come in different aspects to bring the full healing.
That's it's amazing when you talk about it from that standpoint, because when I'm sitting in as a licensed therapist, when I'm sitting in with my clients and I'm seeing that the energy is not moving, or there's a block or something in the way, and helping my clients from the perspective of helping them see that this talk is not, it needs more. It needs some physical movement. Energy needs to shift. And so that's why I partner with you and what you do and what you've taught me to do and some of the things that we have done. It's not just one or the other. We need all of it to just kind of help us move and shift into being whole in that sense, right? Because we are whole. Most people look at us and say, I'm just human. It's just human of me to be like this, to do this or to do that. I'm having a human experience. And I'm like, but you're a spiritual being.
That's the disconnect.
So do you work from the human place, or you work from a spiritual place?
One, I always work from a spiritual place, but I have my own motto. I meet you where you're at. Because I can't force a spiritual shift onto someone because they have their free will. And their free will is like, no, I have limitations. No, I don't believe in this. Then I accept it for what it is, and I work with you on the human aspect. Some people come to me for just massage, and I just massage them, and it's like, okay, thank you, bye-bye. Then there's others that I'm like, listen, I'm feeling some things around. I explain to them what I do. So intuitively, once my fingers get on you, they're starting to feel things. And I'm that vessel for expression.
Yeah.
So I express what intuitively I felt from them. And it gives them feedback, gives them insight, gives them understanding of, oh, that's why my shoulder's been hurting. Oh, that's why my back is hurting. This is why my foot is swelling.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it is, they all come together.
Yeah. But when you meet someone where they are, and let's just say they're in this space, they don't see, when they see spiritual, they sometimes think religion, and we're not talking religion. But when they are in that space of just this human space, how do you keep from... Because you see it, you feel it, and you're like, you want to help, but when they're not ready to help, you're just like, I'll just meet them where they are.
Yeah. I meet them where they are, and I always consult with my guides, my spiritual guides, my team. Like I say, my invisible team that's over here on the left that I'm always talking to all day. You know, I consult with them like, hey now, what do I do?
Yeah.
You know, before I start doing the conscious stuff, subconsciously, what can you assist me? And they come in and they say this, and then I say something so that way this person gets whatever message they need. If spirit doesn't chime in, then I don't force it. You know, I let them know, like, hey, you know, just in case if something else you want to think about, some of the things that you expressed, you know, in your human experience, coaching may help you, you know, or Reiki may help you. And I just present it that way, you know, and they can do with it what they want, you know.
And it's funny when you started all this, and you just mentioned your spiritual guides. When you started, were you in tune with your spiritual guides prior to, you know? Yeah. My
subconscious was.
Intuitive healer. Tell us more about that. What does that look like? That's
a fun time. It looks like me having a lot of conversations in my head while people are talking to me, and my conscious mind is like split between listening to my client and me talking to them. It gets interesting. I'm used to it now. Yeah. In the beginning, it was weird because, you know, I literally would just be sitting here like, okay, blah, 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 you know. Now I can just sit there and stare at you, but meanwhile, I'm having dialogue, you know. Yeah. And then the more that started happening, the more I'm like, who is this voice, this thing, this inner knowing? So that assisted a few members to come in to assist me in my life and in my work. When I went full throttle and retired from dentistry and went full throttle into healing, then the team came in. So, and now it's just like, I got a question. I don't know what this is. What do I do? So, and then when I do need more human interaction, they bring the videos, they bring the people, and I get what I need. Young ladies in a relationship where her mate, she found out, was cheating on her for 7 years. And we all were devastated, you know, because I was already working with her past traumas in her relationship. But this relationship is something that's fused in with, there is love there. There is growth that needs to happen there. But because we all understand we don't communicate well, I don't want them to break up with repercussions. I want to see if they can work together and heal. So while dealing with her, dealing with the old belief system, learning how to let go of the narcissistic abuse that she had to deal with, learning how to grow and mature and evolve from it as an individual. Now she has to have a big Band-Aid ripped off again because this happened. So she's ready to let everything go. And that intuitive aspect of me is just like, no, we're not doing this. We're not breaking up another family. And yes, there's times times to break up families. It's like you are in your own life path, she's on her own life path, fine. I do have couples that it's like that, even though they try to hold on. But she has a pattern of, I don't like the way this feels, I'm just going to let it go. And I'll just move on and do me. And as a single parent, I only have one child. She has two, and she's pregnant right now with his third child. Gotcha. So there's a lot of attachments here. Yes. There's a lot of contributing factors that I'm like, we can't just swipe this under the rug and think that it's going to be just okay. Right. There is still love there, but she has to learn how to forgive. So forgiving, that's a big challenge. Yeah. It was part of bringing awareness. The intuitive, let me just say it like this. The intuitive feeling was like, no, they do not separate. And I was like, okay, well, can they take time away from each other and then come together? And Spirit was like, okay, if they want to try that. Of course, she let them back in the house because they commune with each other. Right. That's his children as well. Right. So she let them back in the house with boundaries. I said, okay, fine. Boundaries are good. Then it turned into, now she's like, this is my house. I helped him. I did this. I did that. And I said, so basically you want Benson. I said, you just want him to come in and help you. And then you can just come and go as you please. And she's like, well, no, I do care about him. And it's like, okay. So it is a lot of understanding the language. This is where the coaching comes in, the NLP coaching comes in. Understanding the language, understanding where the origin of the trauma is, and then bringing new awareness, new information to her so she can, get a different perspective, to reframe the situation. And I do a lot of future pacing, like what is it that you want to see? Yes. Like, because you have to forgive in order to get to that part. Yeah. So right now we're in the midst of working on forgiveness. So, and like I said, this is a part where you have to forgive and forget. She's stuck on the, I can't forget this. Yeah, people say that all the time. Like, I can forgive, but I won't forget. Yeah. If you don't forget, then you haven't forgiven. So. And it's like, what? Yeah. Meridian. You do Meridian. Yes. I think that was the first service that you did with me, was the Meridian. Tell us about that. Okay, so meridians are fun. I love meridians. Just like chakras, they all have their specialty in a sense. When you're working with meridians, you're working on other buttons, other locations on your body. And I always tell people it's like a train station. And you have a whole track that starts from one end, either your toes or your head or your feet, and then opposite goes to another internal part of you. And these lines, these channels have points that stop, that become blockages, that become painful in a physical sense. And when we deal with, let's say, let me give an example. So if we have meridian points, and let's say you keep stumping your knee, and you have issues with your knee, and then later on you find out you have arthritis with your knee. This is a meridian point that, depending on where the pain is located, is a meridian point that is blocked within that channel. That channel corresponds with an organ in the body. So depending on that channel, that organ, that location, I'm looking on a physical, mental, and spiritual aspect to give understanding, to get to understand what is the origin of that pain, what caused that blockage, what emotional feeling were you feeling that you did not handle well in real time. And then by pressing or maneuvering it and spreading it out, we're opening up that spot at the train station. And then now energy can flow. So meridian work is just working through the different channels of the body. That energy is constantly flowing, like the blood circulation, the nervous system. These are other forms of channels that regulate through the whole entire body. So by pushing on certain points, moving, twisting, manipulating the physical body helps to open up that blockage. So therefore, blood circulation can flow, nervous system messages can flow, energy can flow, nutrients, and so forth. Yeah, I remember when you did me, you was like, you had a cold or something like that? I was like, what? He was like, yeah, there was a little lymph node that was right there that was swollen or something. I was like, oh, what do I need to do about it? He was like, oh, no, I got it. It's gone. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
And so when you're talking about that and feeling, I was like, how different is that from acupuncture?
It's similar. It's just I'm doing acupressure. I'm not using needles.
Yeah.
So it's the same premise, the same practice, but I'm just using these little digits.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Those little digits are magical.
Thank you.
They really are. What advice would you give someone just beginning to explore holistic therapies for emotional management?
Work on self first. Okay, we get into healing or any kind of service to help others. This world taught us to be caregivers and not caretakers, taker of self. The more you work on self, the more you understand people. So first, before you think about, get your education, learn different things, learn different aspects of it, and apply it to you. Because we project so much. This person did that. This person does this. Oh, I know I can help this person with that. And then we become dictators to everybody. And it's just like, no, dictate self, delegate self, and then now you can talk from experience. Now you have a different internship, a different source of knowledge to go with this thing that you're doing. So
that's good. That's good. Are there any daily practices or small steps you recommend to your clients to maintain emotional balance between sessions?
Mostly breathing and affirming. I tell people breathing and affirming is free. You don't have to go anywhere to get it. You don't have to pay nothing for it. You can sit there on the toilet. You can sit at the sink. You can sit on the couch and do it. The two things that we really need help with is breathing and affirming, which is speaking positive words out. We have a lot of negative dialogue in us, and we're holding on to a lot in our chest. And that is acting outwards towards our relationships. And the people that we interact with. So in the stressful moments, the two things that we're not doing is breathing first and thinking right.
You're right. So breathing first and thinking right. And we need to do both of those.
So that's always the first rule, the 5-second rules. You're either breathing or you're redirecting your attention. And in that time, then you can handle a situation better.
Most people hold their breath throughout the day most of the time, not even realizing they're not breathing. A lot of times I catch myself in massage while I'm massaging people, and it's like, what am I doing? Okay, shoulders down, breathe. Okay. But we get so zoned out in the process of what we're doing, and the mind is either over hyper focused or the body is over hyper focused, and then the autonomic system is just like, hey, what about me? So breathe. So I thank you for coming. Thank you for being a part. Again, tell us where, if someone wanted to find you, where could they find you?
So I'm here in Virginia Beach.
Okay.
My website is Windows of Wellness. So www.windowsofwellness.com. I'm located in Virginia Beach, right off of Norfolk and Northampton Boulevard. I'm on social media. Instagram is wow_MERS, and Facebook is The Wellness Mission. And
and that's if they're going to the mall or going shopping, the outlet mall, you're around the corner from there, right?
Yes.
And so, again, thank you. We appreciate you and all the wisdom and the knowledge that you have and that you give and that you share. Check out Mary at Windows of Wellness.
If you know, then you know, the Fountain of Hope podcast.